Good morning. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the 2022-2023 academic year convocation ceremony of the University of Massachusetts, Boston. I'm Joseph Berger, the Provost and Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, and I'm delighted to be here with all of you this morning. The start of a new academic year is always exhilarating, and it's especially meaningful as we re-engage following a difficult 2.5 years of COVID-19 uncertainty. Yet, we have much to be proud of as we navigate these complicated times. Our campus community continues to demonstrate remarkable care, compassion, and resilience. And I've been heartened by the energy of our students, many of whom have shared their appreciation for being able to reconnect with each other and our stellar faculty and staff as we come back once again to our beautiful campus. At the same time, we remain cognizant of our individual and collective responsibility to prioritize the physical, mental, social health of our community. And indeed, I'm grateful for the steady leadership UMass Boston has shown in this regard. This is a pivotal moment for UMass Boston as we look to the future with a renewed dedication to equity, a commitment to anti-racism and health promotion, permanent leadership, a new quad that will enhance our beautiful campus, and a new strategic plan for the times. If I could take a moment to briefly highlight for the times, the plan is driven by 5 core priorities. These priorities will guide our planning and operations during the next decade, and they include a robust focus on holistic student success, offering many pathways to and through UMass Boston so that students can fully realize their talents, hopes, dreams, and ambitions as future citizens and professionals. Second, generating impactful research and scholarship anchored around 4 grand scholarly challenges, namely climate equity, health equity, education for the future, and a just society. Positioning this university to be for the city of Boston, engaged with local partners and communities, aligned with economic and workforce needs of Boston and the Commonwealth, and able to provide education and research that informs public policy. And a reimagined campus space, highlighted by infrastructure enhancements and improvements that showcase our commitment to sustainability and community. We will share more details about the strategic plan in the coming weeks, and it will be the main topic for discussion at an all-campus meeting on September 28th. This morning, I also have the privilege to honor UMass Boston colleagues. It gives me great pleasure to congratulate 61 faculty members who have been recognized with promotions for the quality of their research, the impact of their teaching, and the value of their service. This includes 32 faculty members received tenure and were promoted to associate professor. Sixteen colleagues were promoted to the rank of full professor. "13 faculty members were promoted to senior lecturer. I ask that all of you who are here rise so that we can applaud your accomplishment. Congratulations to all of you. Next, I would like to take a moment to introduce several new deans. Venki Venkatachalam, Dean of the College of Management. Bo Fernald, Dean of the Manning College of Nursing and Health Sciences. Stephanie Walker, Dean of the University Library. And Tara Parker, who has stepped in as Interim Dean of the College of Education and Human Development. Thank you so much. We are also pleased to welcome 25 new tenured faculty track colleagues recruited to UMass Boston this academic year through national searches. Before we go any further, I want to recognize several members of our teaching faculty, colleagues in the ranks of lecturer, senior lecturer, and associate lecturer, who do so much to enhance the educational experience of our students and contribute to the scholarly portfolio of the university. I would ask that all members of the non-tenure track faculty, new and continuing, stand and be recognized. Ensuring that the university builds intellectual strength every year is an important mission. There is no better way to reach that goal than to bring new voices into the faculty. And now it is my genuine pleasure to introduce our Chancellor, Marcelo Suárez-Orozco.
Thank you, Provost Berger. Good morning, Beacons. You look amazing. Finally, we can meet outside of the tyranny of Mundo Zoom. It's so good to see you face to face. It's my great pleasure to welcome all of you, our new and returning students, faculty, administrators, and staff, to a new academic year of the University of Massachusetts, Boston. There is nothing like the start of a new semester. Seeing all of you here this morning fuels my sense of optimism and boundless possibility that always accompanies the start of classes. To our new arrivals, you have come to a very special place. UMass Boston has a long tradition of educating students who, as alumni, go on to live purposeful lives and become leaders in their fields, leaders in our communities. One such distinguished alumna, not only a leader in her field, but a leader in our country and the world, could not join us today in person due to her busy schedule, but she's very much with us in spirit. White House climate advisor, Gina McCarthy. I will introduce Gina shortly. One of UMass Boston's greatest strengths is its diversity of talent drawn from around the country and around the world. My advice to our new students is to take every opportunity you can to learn from the incredible range of experiences and perspectives of your classmates and share your own story with your classmates. First, following the traditions of convocations past, I am pleased to recognize the winner of the 2022 John Ryan Award, an honor bestowed annually on the junior with the highest GPA. Named for the first Chancellor of UMass Boston, the Ryan Award commemorates our first convocation and celebrates excellence in our student body. I am pleased to announce this year's winner, Zoa Archer. Zoa, would you please join me? Zoa made the most of her time at UMass Boston. A double major in theater arts and English, Zoa maintained a perfect 4.0 GPA and won the English department's Peter Brooks Butler Memorial Scholarship, enabling her to spend a month this summer studying literature at Oxford University. During the pandemic, Zoa served as video and media production assistant for the play The Party Hop, bringing it to life for online audiences. When in-person productions resumed, Zoa performed in Romeo and Juliet, receiving the Kennedy Center Irene Ryan acting nomination. Zoa's love of literature and theater will continue beyond UMass Boston as she pursues her plan to complete a PhD and become a professor. Zoa, we are so proud of you. Before I present you the 2022 John W. Ryan Award, I will quote from my favorite line, Romeo, Romeo, Romeo. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, convocation is always a wonderful moment, celebratory, filled with excitement, filled with anticipation. But even on a joyful and beautiful occasion like this, we must remember the world outside Columbia Point. So, before I introduce our convocation speaker, the Honorable Gina McCarthy, I offer an observation on the very, very issue she has spent a great deal of her professional life tackling. The issue is unchecked climate change. The dispatches come from every corner of the world every day. From Peru, where a receding glacier high in the Cordillera Blanca range of the Andes has created extremely unstable lagoon ready to trigger an avalanche, perhaps wiping out the city of Suarez in the valley below. A Peruvian farmer is pursuing there an unprecedented lawsuit against a German energy company linking the greenhouse gas emissions of its power plants to the melting glacier. From Pakistan, where epic flooding caused by torrential monsoon rainfall 10 times heavier than normal, destroying so much livelihood and killing more than 1,000 people. And yet, according to the Global Climate Risk Index, Pakistan produces less than 1% of the world's planet warming emissions, but it is the 8th most vulnerable nation in the world. From the Horn of Africa, where 20 million human beings are at risk of famine, in part because of climate-induced droughts that have lasted now for nearly 5 years. The through line of these and so many other dispatches is unfairness. The unfairness that lives in the fact that those least responsible for the climate crisis are forced to cope with its worst impacts. As Advisor McCarthy noted in an interview, quote, "We can't fix the planet and leave the most impacted communities behind. Climate change mitigation and environmental justice are two sides of the same coin," end of quote. How then do each and every one of us matter in the face of these existential challenges? Often, when facing existential issues like these, we can feel hopeless, helpless. But this is the power of education. You do not need to feel this way. I know UMass Boston will empower you to take these and so many other challenges head on. My single message to you today is that learning how to make the world better, more sustainable, more humane, more equitable is exactly why you're here. And UMass Boston, our education, will give you exactly the right knowledge and experiences you'll need to be powerful agents of change. You will cultivate with the tools of science, logic, and the humanities, the habits of mind that enable us to analyze, communicate, address, get in front of, solve complex issues with a critical eye, but also with empathy, nuance, wisdom, an open heart. And you will do so by studying pretty much anything in our beautiful campus. For those of you who are studying engineering, computer science, or environmental health, it will be obvious how the knowledge you acquire and perfect can and must be applied to urgent, real-world issues. And for those of you who are drawn to subjects that may seem farther removed from the issues of the day, philosophy, theater, theoretical astrophysics, quantum computing, know that you are developing the strongest possible foundations for a life of relevance, a life of meaning, a life of purpose. The world's problems cannot be addressed without people, all of us, who think deeply about ethics, who understand the power of art to raise provocative questions and bring us together in common purpose, or who, by studying the universe, are able to see our common shared human problems with perspective, with balance. In my view, higher education must prepare young people to tackle complex challenges, precisely challenges such as the intersection of unchecked climate change and inequality. Because at its best, education advances truth, justice, wellness, and quality of life. We can stop hopelessness in its tracks. The great Algerian novelist and winner of the Nobel Prize once said, "Where there is no hope, we need to invent it." Albert Camus. Education is the place to invent hope. Let's take on hopelessness. Let's take on helplessness. By learning, by understanding, by deploying our agency, our connection to these issues, as students, as citizens in our communities, and as stewards of our fragile, miniaturized, and ever more interconnected Earth. I suspect this is partly why you chose UMass Boston, to explore, to inquire, to discover how you can make our world a better place. I believe this is why our mission is more important than ever before. Thank you, Beacons. Stay strong, stay safe. Go Beacons. It is now my honor to introduce our keynote speaker, the Honorable Gina McCarthy, who, as I mentioned, could not join us today in person because President Biden has asked her to travel with him today to Detroit. She has graciously agreed to pre-record her remarks, and we'll share those shortly. In 2021, Gina McCarthy was appointed by President Joseph Biden as the first ever White House National Climate Advisor. Previously, Gina served as Assistant Administrator and then Administrator of the United States Environmental Protection Agency during the administration of President Barack Obama. Among Gina's signature accomplishments is crafting the climate and clean energy provisions of the Inflation Reduction Act, passed into law August 2022. This historic piece of legislation includes nearly $370 billion in tax incentives, programs aimed at accelerating the nation's transition from a fuel-based economy to one powered by clean energy. During her distinguished career as a public servant and environmental leader, Gina has garnered numerous honors, including the American Environmental Health Safety's Lifetime Achievement Award, the National Wildlife Federation Conservationist of the Year Award, and, maybe most importantly, the University of Massachusetts Boston Chancellor's Medal for Distinguished Service. Indeed, it was said of our proud alumna, quote, "When you compile the list of the most important leaders in the battle for clean energy and against climate emissions, Gina will be at the top of that list." End of quote. Dear Beacons, I give you the Honorable Gina McCarthy, a beacon.
Hi, everybody. Let me start by thanking Chancellor Suárez-Orozco for inviting me today. I apologize for not being there with you in person, but right now I'm riding in Air Force One with President Biden to spend the day in Detroit at the auto show, checking out the new electric vehicles of the future. Look, the president loves cars, and me, I love pollution-free and carbon-free transportation. So I guess it's just a match made in heaven. Look, the last time I gave a speech for UMass Boston was at the 2015 commencement. And while I am another 7 years older, I'm afraid that I'm no wiser, but I am still really excited to join you today. You know, to be honest, I'm really jealous. You are just starting on your journey at UMass Boston. And for me, UMass Boston was the best educational experience of my life. And it is my firm belief that if you take advantage of all this proud school and amazing faculty have to offer, that this experience will be a gift that keeps on giving. No, it won't be free, but it'll be a gift nevertheless. You know, because at UMass Boston, you're going to be challenged to think critically, to question what is, and wonder just what could be, and to learn not just from your professors, but from one another, and to be passionate and compassionate, and to understand the value of service to others, and to not just be open to change, but to literally embrace it. These are the gifts in my life that this school gave me, and they have just been invaluable to me. That's why I'm so happy to be with you at the start of your journey. For me, UMB was a family affair. My dad went to Boston State before it became UMass Boston. And my husband, Ken, and I met at UMass Boston back in 1972. I know that was a long time ago, when it was really no campus whatsoever, unless you call the combat zone a campus. You know, even my sister, my daughter, and my son-in-law are all graduates of UMB. So like I said at the commencement address in 2015, for the past now 46 years, when people ask me where I went to school, I say with pride, UMass Boston, and I never leave the Boston out. And you won't either, because you're going to be UMass Boston proud. You know, this school has always attracted students who have a passion for learning, and that passion is matched only by their passion for service. I myself am a proud public servant. I've worked at the federal, state, and local levels, and I can say without reservation that if you have any aspirations of working in public service, that you are at the right place at the right time. But no matter what you want to do with your life, please grab this school and make sure that you grab everything that it offers, because I can assure you your opportunities will be limitless. I know that because here I am. I'm the daughter of a dad who was a lifelong Boston public school teacher and a mom who worked as a waitress part-time. I had absolutely no political ties or aspirations, and I came from no wealth and had no influence. In fact, I went from smoking Winston cigarettes in the back of French class at the old UMass Boston to working for 6 governors, Democrats and Republicans, to sitting in the cabinet room and Oval offices with 2 presidents. Now, how did that happen? Beats me. I just know that all my life, beginning here, I grabbed all the opportunities, every idea I could hear, any experience that I could engage in, and the possibilities that UMass opened up for me, because I had no intention of selling myself short or leaving life's best adventures unexplored. And you shouldn't either. You belong to the smartest, most informed, tech-savvy generation in human history. It's a generation that is incredibly impatient and amazingly relentless. And I know so many of you are here because you already have a commitment to a better, more equitable world. You already understand that too many people in too many countries have been left behind. In the United States of America, we have people that don't have access to clean water or breathing clean air. So now it's your chance to take hold of these inequities. It's your chance to take advantage of the education this school has to offer, so you can embrace the change that we all want and we need to see. This convocation is not just the start of your better future. It's the start of a better future for all of us. So go make that future come alive. For more than 40 years, I've been working to protect people from pollution and environmental degradation that we all know threatens our health and our well-being, not to mention our future. And during all that time, it has become increasingly clear that impacts from pollution fall disproportionately on people living in environmental justice communities, people who have been facing systemic disinvestments for decades, if not for centuries, including pollution that is now posing the greatest existential threat of our time, climate change. And now, finally, I can say with the recent passage of the bipartisan infrastructure law, and most notably the Inflation Reduction Act, that the US is now back in a leadership position on climate. These bills are simply groundbreaking. They are historic. They provide what amounts to a game-changing commitment to tackle the climate crisis. The Inflation Reduction Act delivers alone $370 billion in investments, and that's going to eliminate a gigaton of greenhouse gas emissions, 1 billion metric tons. And that's going to put us on a path to achieve a 50% reduction in greenhouse gases by 2030. In that way, we're going to lower energy costs for families. We're going to grow good paying union jobs, and we're going to significantly advance environmental justice. This is a big leap forward on climate. and it doesn't demand sacrifice. It provides opportunities for all of us. That's why it's going to work, because we're talking about the clean technologies of the future that are already here today. Solar, wind, and batteries are already winning in the energy marketplace. And these investments are going to provide the push that we need to deliver a healthy, more secure energy future for all of us. How sweet is this? So I know it's an exciting time for you, and it is for me as well. You're starting your time at UMass Boston, and I am ending my time in the White House later this week. And while I am enormously proud of the work that I have helped to accomplish with a team of amazing people all my life, and let me assure you that I will keep pushing climate action for my kids and my grandkids. But we have to keep working together, because I know and you know that this is your time to shine. This is your moment of opportunity. So please grab all that UMass Boston has to offer. Stay hopeful and obnoxiously impatient, because the time is now to deliver the kind of equitable, healthy, and secure future that every human being deserves. And we don't have any time to lose. So enjoy the journey. Thank you.
Your time to shine. Such uplifting and inspiring words from Advisor McCarthy. Think of it this way: a beacon, an architect of the most important initiative in the planet today, the most important initiative in the planet today to take on the wicked, wicked problem of unchecked climate change. Think about that. Also, think about, you too may find your soulmate, as the secretary did, in your journey through UMass Boston. As you heard, she's beacon proud. Our immense thanks and appreciation to her, her team, for arranging this speech at the last minute as she's minding the urgent affairs of the state. We look forward to welcoming Gina back home, back to her campus in the future when her schedule allows. Before I conclude this year's convocation ceremony, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the wonderful team of staff who worked so very hard to make this day possible. A hand for our staff. I also want to acknowledge all UMass Boston workers for their service, for their contribution to our beautiful university. Thank you. Okay, I encourage all of you now to join me and members of the UMass Boston leadership team on the front lawn of the campus center for today's barbecue luncheon. I will be serving burgers, cheeseburgers, veggie burgers, so just look for me and I will be happy to feed you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.